Happy Wednesday. Welcome into KC Sports Tonight. I'm Katie Marr. That's Neil Jones. And Neil, the news of the day, the Eric Bieniemy reports are apparently true. Still waiting for official Chiefs confirmation of his hiring to return as offensive coordinator in Kansas City. But Travis Kelce talked about it on his podcast today, said he's very excited and can't wait to get him back in the building. What's your take on it?
You know, I think that's important. Because everything I've heard today has not really been about, well, we know Eric Bieniemy. We saw his work when he was here as a running back coach and then ultimately became the offensive coordinator for Andy Reid. We saw it could be a bumpy road because Eric Bieniemy is not the kind of guy who's going to sit quietly in the back of the room and just like this. When guys would mess up on the practice field, Eric Bieniemy would be yelling so loud, I don't think I needed a microphone to pick it up. And I'm 100 yards away, up on the hill where we shoot training camp from. And he would get on anybody. He yelled at Patrick Mahomes publicly at least once. I heard it one time. I heard that he did it more than once, but I heard him yell, Patrick, what are you doing? When the ball goes down, you get on it, or something like that. I mean, it was like he was coaching him up. And there was a sense when he left that it was time for him to leave. He wanted to be a head coach in the NFL. The only way he was going to get that opportunity probably was to call his own plays, to run an offense. Whatever happened in Kansas City, he didn't get the credit. When bad things happen, well, Eric Bieniemy didn't get it. He and the quarterback are not on the same wavelength. But when things went well, it was always Andy Reid's offense. So I think there was a reason for him to leave, Katie. But I think I think there were a lot of people who thought, well, he wasn't that great. And I think it helps, one, that Andy Reid wanted to bring him back or he wouldn't have interviewed him. And secondly, that a leader like Patrick Mahomes or Travis Kelce, who's been around forever, who played for him, they got into each other's face a few times. He talked about, hey, he's the guy that would get in front of the team and give the speech. He was the guy we looked to at halftime. He made a lot of the adjustments on offense. And so the respect he showed today on his podcast, I think will go a long way towards helping Chiefs fans welcome Eric Bieniemy back if indeed he is the guy.
Yeah, the chatter online, people seem to either have one of these two opinions. Either they're happy that Bieniemy is back because he was the offensive coordinator when the Chiefs offense was so fantastic for several years. So the people on the other side of the spectrum are mad that they're going back to their old ways, yada, yada, yada. What's your take on it when it comes to that debate?
Look, the offense has not been its best. The days of the deep passing game, we've seen a lot of other offenses in the NFL that looked more explosive than the Chiefs. Chiefs have these really fast receivers. They've got a proven quarterback in Patrick Mahomes, and yet they didn't make those kind of plays. And too often, when they needed to get chunk yards, they couldn't get it this year. And so, as a result, I think there are a lot of people who felt like the offense there's an argument that, hey, he needs to bring in somebody new. He needs to bring in a Cliff Kingsbury type. I'm not saying him, but somebody like that who could come in and maybe look at this offense with a new eye, from a different viewpoint, who's in the film room with Coach Reid this winter and says, Andy, why don't we do this? Why don't we try this? This is something we do. Why don't we try to have this play or these types of plays in our system, not to replace what you have, but as an addition to what we've got, and maybe you can wake up this offense a little bit. That's the thought process. But I think Andy Reid said it pretty bluntly when he said we don't, in our opinion, need to change the offense. We need to tweak it. And so he didn't go outside the family. It doesn't look like he is bringing in a different a wide receiver coach who he has not worked with, who's a veteran guy. In fact, he was here years ago, I think under Dick Vermeil, in 03 or 02, something like that. So he's been around for a while. He knows Kansas City, and maybe he will bring a different viewpoint into those meeting rooms.
Yeah, and plus, when we talk about the Chiefs have a habit of going back to their old ways and bringing in old talent and yada, 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 this is at least different in the fact that Bieniemy has spent several years away under different head coaches, and now he's spent a year under the hotshot coach in the NFL, the new guy Ben Johnson, who's had a stellar first year with the Bears, and he also has the benefit of being a great running back mind. That's where the Chiefs are struggling right now. Patrick Mahomes isn't a young guy like he was when Eric Bieniemy was first his offensive coordinator. So I think it'll be different, and I get that he's a familiar face coming back, and that can seem so typical with the Chiefs, and people are tired of it, but he's at least bringing a bunch of different knowledge this time around. So are you taking Travis Kelce's comments as maybe this is influencing him to come back next year?
I think that this has got to be a step in the right direction, because I promise you, if Eric Bieniemy is hired, he's going to be calling all the offensive players. He's a proactive guy. He's going to be, and that includes Travis Kelce saying, "We want you back. Mm-hmm. We need you back." They're not that far away. I think that you look at their numbers, and the more the analytical people look at this, they're like, it's such an anomaly that they could have such an awful record in one-score games. Almost everything that went right for them 2 years ago went against them this year.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was their own doing. Horrible penalties. Did you notice that this year? Up there in the press box when you were eating steak and lobster and I was freezing or getting rained on. Did you notice that there were a lot of Chiefs penalties at inopportune times?
Don't forget about the hot chocolate.
Yeah, I know. I can see you up there holding your little mug of hot chocolate.
Me and Marlia are like toasting to Neil every time we drink our hot chocolate.
Except you couldn't remember my name. Oh, it's the old guy. The old guy. Look at him. He's freezing.
Look at him down there.
Why is he laying down on the end zone?
Why is he wearing Chargers yellow?
I know. You're the reason I didn't wear it, because
I didn't.
And I froze to death.
Neil.
I froze to death. I'm wearing this beautiful yellow parka. It was a game before Christmas when it was like 7 degrees at 9 a.m. and I'm down there and you come out. You're all bundled up. You're wearing like fur or faux fur. The only thing we could see were your eyes, and you pull it down long enough to say, "Why are you wearing the Chargers colors?"
I want the record to show that Neil is telling everybody that I'm the reason why he froze that day, because I told him he couldn't wear that coat, and that didn't happen. And
did you notice after that I was mentally diminished for a while?
You still haven't been okay. It's been a month now, a month and a half.
It's been years. Katie, I can remember my children's name, and that is about it. I can remember their birthdays, but I can't remember anything. I can't remember names at all. It's unbelievably horrible.
All right. Well, you heard it from Neil Jones himself. He's getting old, apparently.
You know what I do remember?
What? That
Eric Bieniemy was very interesting, and I am excited. If he does indeed come back, I will be excited. And I may be proven wrong, and maybe he's a disaster, but I do think he's a guy that has the respect of the players, because he was a pretty good football player himself.
Yeah, this is very true. All right, more in the NFL this week. There are only 2 games left. NFC Championship, AFC Championship, which AFC Championship you can watch on our air at 2 o'clock this Sunday. That's between 2-seed Patriots, top-seeded Broncos. Broncos, of course, are going to be quarterbacked by Jared Stidham, since Bo Nix has been ruled out for the season, suffering an ankle fracture on the second-to-last play of the game. Who you like it in that matchup?
Well, the Patriots have the best offense, one of the best offenses in the AFC. They've scored 493 points, and they've given up 320 points. So their defense is pretty good. Mm-hmm. The Broncos' defense, which is as good as it gets, right? They gave up 311 points. So it's not like the Patriots play in a division that had a couple of teams that weren't very good, meaning the Jets. They count like double.
The Dolphins.
Yeah, you're right.
Half and half.
2 offenses that had some issues. And so that probably skews their numbers a little bit. But the Patriots can play defense, but they also can play offense. They scored 93 more points this year, 493 points. The Broncos only scored 401. And that, while it sounds weird, the fact that Bo Nix was not Patrick Mahomes, the fact that there were a lot of games they won 10 to, not necessarily 10, but let's say 13 to 10. There were a lot of bad offensive performances that the Broncos had this year, including at home, that they somehow survived and won, which leads me to believe that they will know how to play in a low-scoring game where their defense has to really perform. Mm-hmm. If you're asking about who's got the edge at quarterback, it's not going to be the Broncos. Yeah. But I think Stidham, people forget, he was a really good football player coming out of college, and I think that they brought him in thinking that he might challenge for the job. Bo Nix ended up, taking it by the the neck and has had the job the last 2 years. But I think Stidham gives them a chance to win because he's a veteran enough player. He's a backup, but a veteran enough player who's played enough that I think he knows how not to turn the football over and not to get like a deer in headlights and make those terrible mistakes you can have. I mean, in your mind, who you gonna, first of all, who are you going to bet on?
I don't bet, but if I did bet, I would probably pick Patriots to win. I think it'll be close for sure, and I agree with you where I don't think Jared Stidham's going to be like, of the backup quarterbacks in the NFL, he's not the worst. However, I think that because both the Patriots and the Broncos, I feel like both have good defenses, I think the Patriots have the upper hand on offense, and that's going to put them on top of a close matchup probably.
And they're playing it hot. They're playing it at Mile High.
They're playing it Mile High.
And they haven't had this game for, a decade?
Yeah, 2015 was the last time they hosted.
So this is a big deal there. Yeah. Very similar to what it was here in Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes' first year as a starter, 2018.
Yeah.
January of 2019, the Chiefs hosted the AFC Championship game for the first time of a bunch in a row. And that was a big deal for us in this town. It was big, but you know what it wasn't? It wasn't enough – just flip the script, and Bob Sutton's defense gave up the ghost in the first half, and then they had a problem at the end of the game, and there you go. The Chiefs lost in overtime to Tom Brady and company.
Well, on the NFC side of things, Seahawks, Rams, I'm very excited about this matchup because when the postseason started, I thought the Super Bowl was going to be the Bills and the Rams. I think the Rams have been one of the best teams in the NFL. They've just made some dumb mistakes at times that have contributed to a few losses. Matthew Stafford's playing out of his mind this year. He's got weapons. He's got Puka. He's got Devontae Adams, Kyron Williams, all the guys. They have great offense, solid defense as well. I'm excited about that game. Who do you think has the upper hand in it?
I'm not a fan of the Seahawks necessarily, but they have been unbelievable. Their numbers are incredible. They scored 480 points plus. They gave up less than 300 points offensively and defensively. They have been the better team. They dominated the 49ers at times. I mean, they have good teams in that division, and they won the division. They had a 14-3 record, 2 games ahead of the Rams. I think you got to go with the Seahawks playing at home. They are the team to beat, but as we saw, the Rams go on the road and win in Chicago against a quarterback who can make plays.
Against the comeback king.
Yeah, and so I'm going to go with the Seahawks simply because I've had the better season. This is a division game. So how the Rams may come out with their hair on fire and play the best game of the year and smoke the Seahawks. We don't know, but the Seahawks have been very impressive so far. Who are you betting on?
If I were to bet, I think I'd pick the Rams. And who did you pick for AFC? Do you think the Patriots?
I'm going to go with the Patriots because I hate the Broncos.
So
because of the quarterback situation being what it is.
Okay.
And I like Mike Vrabel. I think he's a great coach, although the Broncos head coach, Sean Payton, is the real deal. He knows how to win. And in the NFC, I'm going to go with the Seahawks.
Okay, so Neil thinks it's going to be a Seahawks-Patriots Super Bowl. I think it's going to be Patriots-Rams Super Bowl, which was 2019? That was Super Bowl in 2019?
That was a terrible
game.
Terrible Super Bowl.
I only watched half of it.
Well, you didn't miss anything.
I know.
It was awful.
I remember tuning in at halftime, and I was like, oh, there's 3 points scored.
Yep. The weather is supposed to be horrible this weekend, which means that you stick it right at Channel 5, 2 o'clock on Sunday. It's funny because the NFC game I don't think is on television. You'll have to listen to it on radio.
No. Yeah, I see your vision there. Alrighty. Royal Blue. What about the Royals do you want to talk about today, Neil?
Well, there's so much. This is a great time to look forward to the next nice thing that's going to happen. Certainly we have college basketball and stuff. That gets heated up in March.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm excited about the start of spring training. In a couple of weeks, the Royals are going to have their media day, and we'll all go out there, and it'll be fun to see the players and the manager and some of the people around, the general manager. So I'm excited about that. This team, in my opinion, underperformed last year. I think they're due to bounce back. They had some issues with health issues with their starting pitching. They didn't get hitting at all from the corner outfield.
Yeah.
But their third baseman was an all-star. Their shortstop played great, was an all-star. Vinny started slow, but ended up being a big run producer at first base for them. They had sort of a revolving door at second base, but I think they had some people who had career lows. They had some of the worst numbers of their career, and I think that they're gonna bounce back from that. I think they're gonna be a better team on the field, and I think their pitching, if it's healthy, will be good.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Royals are going to take a step up this year. Everyone thought that was going to be the case last year, but I felt like they didn't really do anything in the offseason to make that happen. But I feel like they have.
Well, they brought in Jonathan India,
year.
who then had the worst career on-base percentage of his career, I think.
Yeah.
And it's an outlier. He was great, terrible. I think he's going to be – he may not be great again, but I think he's going to be a much better player than he was at the plate last year.
Yeah, I think they've taken some steps this offseason to put them in that better place. Also, Carlos Beltran going to be inducted into the MLB Hall of Fame. You covered him, Neil. You know, but what's your opinion? What do you remember about him?
Really, really good player. Really nice person. Did not have a great command of the English language when he first came here. And the reason I bring that up is you don't feel like sometimes it's hard to know what the person's like. You know, and maybe it doesn't come across on television. They didn't put him in the interview room a whole bunch because of his English wasn't great. He was a wonderful person, and I'll never forget he got traded, and we're out in the parking lot. I'm going live for Channel 5 or something, and I'm standing and talking to a radio reporter on 610 radio at that time, Rhonda Moss. And here comes a car, and we're talking after I'd done my live shots, and she had done her stuff, and we were walking out to our car. A car pulls up. It's empty. The parking lot's pretty empty. Somebody pulls up and rolls down the window. It's Carlos Beltran thanking Rhonda, because Rhonda was there at every game, and thanking her. Hey, thank you for your coverage. It was really nice. And he waved at me. You know, you don't see that a lot. You know, most of those guys, hey, I'm getting traded to a team that's winning. Hey, see you later. But I thought that said a lot that he would take the time to drive over and say goodbye to her, and then also be nice enough to wave to me. He was a good guy in the clubhouse. He was a five-tool player, true five-tool player. There really wasn't anything he couldn't do at a high level, and he played great. And I really believe he would have been in the Hall of Fame earlier, except he was caught up in the scandal involving the Astros in their World Series championship. He came across, got traded into that clubhouse, and he knew what was going on. He didn't say anything. I think he would have been a manager. I think it killed him in a lot of ways, because I think AJ Hinch lost his job too, and he ultimately came back and has done really well as a manager, but it damaged him because he was the manager of that Astros team and a highly respected person and guy. And I think that some of the people that were involved in that are going to be punished and have been punished. I think he was a good enough player in Kansas City and with the Mets, irrespective of what he did in Houston, that I think that people gave him the benefit of the doubt. And like I said, he had a reputation, Carlos Beltran did, of being a really good person. And the team was so awful around him that he played hard even though they were awful. And as you know, that can be hard to do.
Yeah, for sure. All right. College basketball. Jayhawks win after midnight, past my bedtime. I kind of stayed up to watch the very end. I was kind of half asleep. 10 p.m. tip-offs. I don't like them very much. But they did it on the road without Bill Self, who stayed behind after another health scare happening on Monday. Did not travel with the team to Colorado. Jock Vaughn stepped in as head coach.
Could you tell the difference at all?
Like in terms of their how they played?
Well, I mean, is he more demonstrative, less demonstrative than Bill Self? He obviously was a head coach at the NBA level and had not coached at the collegiate level until this year. Could you tell a difference?
I mean, he was getting animated and stuff on the sideline. He for sure, like, it seemed like it fit him, almost. And I just watched his post-game press conference from last night. He seemed super happy, and he also said he talked to Bill Self, and that Bill was super excited about the win. And Fran Fraschilla from ESPN said that Bill Self is expected to be ready to coach for the Sunflower Showdown this weekend. They will have a media availability tomorrow, so we should find that out for sure tomorrow afternoon. But yeah, I mean, the team, I got home from work early in the second half, watched the rest of the game, and when I turned it on and saw that it was like a 2-point game against Colorado, 19th ranked Jayhawks, I was like, that just seems fitting. I was like, they're gonna find a way to keep this close, and they did, but they scraped out the win. And I mean, what more can you ask for when you're on the road, which the Jayhawks have struggled with this year, conference road games, and they're without their head coach. So right. I think I'll take a 6-point win if I'm a Jayhawk fan.
Yeah, I think this is a good win. Tad Boyle's a good coach at Colorado. It's a big game for him coaching against his alma mater. Obviously played at KU back in the day, and he does a good job. They were really down last year. They brought in all these new players. They're still not back.
They're very young.
Yeah, Colorado's not to where they want to be right now. So this was a win that KU needed to get. Can they run the table and win the league? Probably not. But there was 2 weeks ago, we're wondering, is this team going to get it turned around enough to make the tournament?
Yeah.
Because, you can probably make it with a losing record in the Big 12 because the league is so good. Mm-hmm. But at some point, you got to win some games. And then, of course, they shocked number 2 Iowa State. They dominate them at home. Then they come back and win another game against Baylor at Allen Fieldhouse. And then now this is another step in the right direction. I think they're learning more about themselves as a team because Peterson's been so disjointed that they've had to learn how to play with him and without him.
Yeah.
So it's been kind of a tough second semester.
And that was something that Melvin Council Jr. said in the post-game press conference last night. He was like, we can't just win at home. Like, we got to start learning how to win on the road. So, like you said, first step in the right direction for them. And now they have another road game coming up in a place that they have not won many times in the last few years.
Yep.
That's in Manhattan, Kansas.
I wonder if there's anybody on the Kansas team that's won a game there. I mean, a real player, not a walk-on. And wonder if there's anybody.
I don't know if there's anyone. When's the last time they won there?
That's won in Manhattan.
2021, 2022. I don't think there's a player on the team right now that was there in 2022, which I think would be the last time they won.
So you're going over there, I hear.
No, probably not, because if the roads are bad, I'll be staying here. I will not be driving in the icy roads.
We have 4-wheel drives, don't we?
I'm not driving on the icy roads at
Maybe
midnight.
we don't have. You know what? Maybe we don't have 4-wheel drives.
I will not. We are credentialed, so if it doesn't snow, hey, I might see y'all out in Manhattan. But if it snows and it's icy, I'm not making that drive back after midnight. But
what time's the tip?
7 p.m., which is very late.
Well, and the story's going to, as much as the story's going to be the game, and K-State fans, don't be angry, the story's kind of be Bill Self.
Yeah, for sure.
But we can't shoot the game anyway over there.
Exactly.
So it's shots of Bill walking out. I say Bill. Coach Self walking out.
Good friend Bill.
Shaking hands, then walking, then him walking back in, and then he walks. So it's like that's all you're allowed to shoot. So I don't know.
Yeah. But it'll be interesting because for the first time in weeks, K-State will be coming off a win. They got their first win in Big 12 play last night against the horrible Utah Utes, who are the next worst team in the Big 12.
Look,
they were 1-4 coming in.
Utah can be troublesome.
They've been one of the worst Power 4.
I'm trying to.
Power 5? Power 5, I guess, for basketball.
So why are you you're taking shots at poor K-State. They finally get a win, and you're going, oh, yeah, but they beat somebody that's terrible.
Well, they only won by like a few points.
But they won. They won. Did they celebrate like they won the championship?
Yeah, they kind of did. Celebrate your wins.
Did Coach Tang really climb up in the stands?
Oh, yeah.
That's cool. I wish I were there to see that.
He does that for every win, which is always fun to see. Hey, if this is the start of K-State turning things around and having a great season, awesome. I like when the Sunflower Showdown is competitive. I like when our teams have success because then they're more interesting to cover, to be quite honest.
Yep, absolutely. And the fans are more excited.
Exactly, and the fans are more excited. There are more sellouts. Like, if they lost that game last night, they would have been in serious trouble in terms of like just filling up the student section.
Student section, yes, but trust me, people will come out to see the Jayhawks play.
Oh yeah,
a cheap ticket.
But I mean,
to
like
see
any K-State game going forward without.
Oh yeah,
KU
no,
there,
you're right.
They would have been in trouble.
You're right.
With attendance.
Well, what worried me was listening to the radio broadcast a couple of weeks ago was that it sounded like maybe the Wildcats weren't playing with a lot of intensity. They were playing UCF at home, and Wyatt Thompson and Stan Weber do a great job on the radio. And I listened to about an hour of that game in the car, and I'm like, they didn't seem very happy with the way. They didn't criticize anybody by name, but they kept saying, the Cats need to play with a little more intensity. And so that worried me a little bit. It's one thing to be out-talented, but to be outworked is not a good look. And they're not going to K-State fans are not going to put up with that in any sport.
Yeah.
They have too much pride.
One thing that I took from last night's win, David Costello got the start, and he came out, from the get-go was nailing threes, and he was a little firecracker out there. He only got the start because Abdi Bashir Jr. was ruled out for the game with an injury. So I want to see more of David Costello going forward.
Isn't he out for the rest of the year?
Oh, I don't know. So I'm not sure.
I'm not positive, but well, who did you bet on?
Don't bet, Neil. He thinks I'm lying. He thinks like one day he's going to catch me in the act off guard.
I'm just saying that you do a lot of homework, and it can't be just so that when you're on this little thing with us that you can display your knowledge. It's got to be more to it.
Nope. Abdi Bashir has a stress fracture in his foot, so he's out 4 to 6 weeks. Thank you, Gabe Swartz.
He'll be back.
See him.
He will be back in time for the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, or the Big 12 tournament. Let's see if the Cats make that second one.
So,
but PJ Haggerty had a great game as well. So shout out PJ Haggerty.
He can play.
Yeah,
he's a good
kid's
player.
A baller.
Are you excited yet? Are you invested in this basketball season yet?
I'm getting there. Once I think the conference championships this weekend are over, then it's going to be very much like, all right, we really just care about college basketball right now.
Mizzou has played better basketball. They got beat at the buzzer by Georgia, which is ranked, but everybody on radio today, I was hearing how terrible Georgia is. They shouldn't have been ranked.
Mizzou almost pulled it off.
Yeah, Mizzou had a chance to win. They have played significantly better since getting skunked in the rivalry game against Illinois, the University of Illinois, which was a complete beatdown. Since then, they've played pretty good basketball, and clearly they're playing hard.
Yeah, they're having a good season so far. They had a really good start to SEC play, starting 2-0 for the first time ever in the SEC. And then they take a few steps back with a loss, but I think last night's game also just proved that they can compete with anybody in the SEC, even the ranked teams. They were just the victim of a game-winning 3-point play near the buzzer.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah. All right, college basketball, NFL. Any final thoughts before we go, Neil? We
Big
have
news.
Less than a minute.
Lot of stuff going on in college football. We'll have more on that this weekend as coaches had their convention last week. There is a lot of talk about the calendar for the playoffs. The Big 12, the Big 10 and the SEC are battling over the future of the college football playoff. The SEC wants one thing, the Big 10 wants another, and the other leagues are kind of backing up the SEC, if I'm not mistaken. So there is a lot going on this offseason that will affect college football down the road. We'll continue to follow that as well.
All right, you heard it straight from the man himself. Thanks for joining us on KC Sports Tonight. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 5:30.